This is the first 2021 Pan America that has come into the dealership. We're going to go to southern Utah and really put this bike through its paces.
Hey Greg, look at this car on the right. And yeah, she just mounted the word Harley. It's cool that people notice and realize that it's something different.
Everything's better on motorcycle. Riding really doesn't get better than this.
Hello, my name is Greg Woodward. I'm the dealer principal at Grand Teton Harley-Davidson. I'm here in front of Legends Motorcycle Museum in Springville, Utah, getting ready for an adventure down in southern Utah with my good friend Steve. This is the first 2021 Pan America 1250S that has come into the dealership. I set it up for myself with pretty much every option on it. I did tool around on this for about an hour up near my house, so it's already got some dirt and everything on it. But excited to get down in southern Utah with my friend Steve. I'm going to be meeting up with him at Silver Summit here, and we're going to go to Moab, hit Arches, Canyonlands, and some of the surrounding areas, a mixture of pavement and off-road, and really put this bike through its paces, see what it's all about.
Greg, do you think Steve's going to show up?
I think he's going to show up. He's pretty dependable, but we're waiting here for him. There he is. Made it. Sweet.
Heck yeah, how you doing?
Good. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Nice bike.
You guys ready to head on down the road?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Right.
Everything's better on motorcycle. Check out the train on the left-hand side as we dip into this canyon.
Yeah, I just can't get over the scenery down here, and seeing it on a motorcycle is definitely elevates it.
Been on a lot of dirt roads, but not this one here in the north part of the San Rafael Swell.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've driven down this highway south of Wellington many times, and I've always wondered what's out to the west of it. Man, this is just gorgeous. Look at the views.
Couldn't ask for a better day. Look at the clouds. Add lots of contrast to the colors here in color country. Just spectacular.
Well, this is part of adventure biking. Sometimes your plan doesn't work out well, but we enjoyed the ride and had a great road to ride on, but we're not going to see any dinosaur bones, at least not today.
That's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
The other cool thing is, we are on these gravel roads and dirt roads, a little bit of sand, and then we just pause to switch modes and hop out on the highway.
It's amazing how quickly you can transition over.
That's one of my favorite parts of riding an adventure bike. It's being able to go from dirt to pavement and back to dirt again without having to make any modifications.
Well, it's end of day one. We're just outside of Moab, Utah, Thompson Springs, up a little canyon here. It's the first time out with my own 2021 Pan America. This bike is proving to be just what I thought it was as I came out of Mojave, California as well in the Rawhide Adventures. We had a stretch as we came into an area of Utah called Color Country around Price and Wellington, Utah. It's on the north end of the San Rafael Swell. Steve was mentioning that there's this area of road from Wellington to Green River, Utah that just isn't all that interesting on the pavement. So we took both of our bikes off pavement. Yes, it was an improved road. Looks like it was newly graded, but there was still some sandy stuff.
Yeah, good mix of roads. A lot of loose gravel, sand, but then some hard packed clay as well.
Yeah, a few areas that have been washed out that they brought a bunch of gravel in, right? I think you said at one point like 8 feet of gravel in one area.
A few dodgy spots for sure.
A few dodgy spots. So a few areas where we had to let these bikes do what they're intended to do, standing, high center of gravity, and just kind of making our way through there.
Whoa, heads up, a cattle guard here. Just be careful.
Following along behind you, I really noticed how well it handled the washboard roads.
Yep.
So it tracked really well. It wasn't bouncing around. I noticed you have knobby tires on it. Those aren't stock tires, correct?
Correct. Yeah, these are an option that you can get. So the laced wheels on the 1250S are an option. They do come with more of a street-oriented tire from the factory. We could have done most of these roads with those tires as well, but for just a little bit more confidence, we went with more of an off-road oriented tire. It's a radial tire, so it still does really well as you get up on the interstate as well. I mean, we had no problem getting this thing up to speed. I won't say how fast we go, but we probably touched pretty close to the rev limiter here. Yeah, nothing quite like getting out on experiencing the roads on a motorcycle, even the paved roads, right? But these bikes really allow you to experience quite a bit more. There's a lot of unpaved roads in the U.S. and around the world, and boy, we just had a perfect day with cloud cover, but contrast to colors and everything there, and the San Rafael swell.
Yeah, I think I've driven those highways many times, but getting off the highway really opens it up and makes you realize how beautiful everything is, and the different terrains and the lighting, with the clouds and the sun. I mean, it was spectacular today. Great day on the road. I'm impressed that Moab has a parking garage. It's always a little slower getting going day 2, you know. Stretch out. Oh, there's the bikes.
Right here in Moab, Utah, I have 2 stickers that I'm going to christen the panniers with. It's the Grand Teton Harley-Davidson sticker and Jackson Hole Harley-Davidson sticker as well. I'll let air bubble out of that one. All right, ready to go.
Hey Greg, look at this car on the right. They're looking at you. And yeah, she just mouthed the word Harley. I think they just realized they're looking at something new and special.
This has to be the first one down in this area and one of the first out on the roads here in the U.S. I've been in Arches several times, but I actually haven't ridden a motorcycle here. The scenery gets real right away as you cut up these switchbacks. These arches are just spectacular. The light's hitting them just right. And even though the park is crowded, just a way different way to experience this park, and it's really surreal being here. Looking at them online.
It came in last week, and this was supposed to be the demo, but I just bought it myself and got it all set up and wanted to get it out without filming some content. So in our state parks and national parks, there's a big problem right now with people defacing some of these gems. So don't do that. Save this for future generations and don't deface these. You can see at some point somebody defaced a little bit of newspaper rock here as well. Yeah, let's keep this pristine for future generations.
And it's right by the road. And that's what's amazing.
Unbelievable as we're exiting Canyonlands, just unbelievable valley. Couldn't ask for a better day.
Just wrapping up day 2 of my adventure with my good friend Steve here. Steve has the first reservation on a 2021 Pan America out of our Grand Teton Harley-Davidson store up in Idaho Falls. Overall, it performed really well. This is a fully outfitted 1250S in the Baja orange and white. On the bike, you know, we've crossed over the break-in period, so I'm going to take back up to our master technicians there in Idaho Falls, have them do an oil change and tweak just a couple little things. We noticed a couple things that needed some adjustment that could use a little refinement, so happy to share with those things with you there at the store as we get you out on some of these bikes, and we've got another one on the ground right now. So we got to ride this thing in all sorts of different environments. I started out in my home in northern Utah in some snow actually, and so I got it dirty right away. But we rode at nighttime, we rode early in the morning. At nighttime, got to experience this adaptive headlight that actually kind of peeks around the corner for you if it detects a certain lean angle at nighttime, so you get a broader spectrum of view around the corner. I also added these Daymaker lights down here on the engine guard. Just gives me a lot more visibility on the road at night, but those also, I found myself turning those on in the daytime when I thought lighting might cause some issues in terms of visibility, so it was really a safety thing for me as well. Kept the windshield stock. I may play with some different heights as well. There's also a smoke screen. I really didn't get much buffeting, but I do like to try and dial that in on all my bikes. I usually play with the windscreen just a little bit. There's a lot of different luggage systems that you can put on this. I opted for this trip to put the aluminum panniers on here in black. They're made by SW Motec, really high quality. I have some inserts that go in there as well that make it easy for me to get my gear in and out.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed with them is how easy they are to take off. And I love that about my bike. So it was curious for me to see how Harley handled that. Some other bikes of my friends ride, they're much harder to get off. And why does it matter? Sometimes you're, pulling up to camp, you want to take the pannier off, and that's my chair. When I sit down, I flip it over, and that's my cooking table as well around a campfire. So I use my panniers as tools when we get to camp. So it's good to see how easily they come off and how secure and quickly they go back on.
Yeah, really high quality. They give you a very affirmative feel that they're on, and weatherproof. They held up really well. They could take a bit of a beating. For those that are going to be a little bit more off-road than we were on this trip, you'd want to do soft bags. Harley-Davidson does have soft bags as well to hold all your gear. I do have that set up, and in another video we'll be reviewing those and using those. Some of the other setup items on this bike, I do have a tank bag that I used for the first time as well, and I fully loaded that. You're not supposed to put more than 5 pounds in that, but you can put your map, your phone, keys, snacks, things that you want really accessible right there up on the tank bag. I also put some guards here up on the tank, just because I have a tendency when I'm off-road to kind of hug that tank just a little bit, and it helps prevent scratching. I also think it looks good, right? It just adds to the look, a little contrasting color.
Oh, they look great. And when you get into serious off-roading, you're steering with your knees, you're moving your whole body, and those grippable sides are a great feature to have.
I also put upgraded pegs on this. They're about 2.5 times larger than the stock pegs. We do have those at the store as well. They're built specifically for this bike. One of the adjustments I'm going to dial in is just some of the levers, the brake and the gear selector lever. Yeah, on handling, there's several different modes that you can select on this bike. I kept this bike when I was on pavement in sport mode. I just like the way that the engine is mapped, the suspension is mapped at that point. Switched it into off-road mode, turned the traction control off, just so I had kind of free movement at that back end over washboard roads. Several different modes, customization that you can put in here. I actually do have a custom sport mode in here as well. And the thing just handled wonderfully. These things are very well balanced bikes. You feel like you can drag a knee in the corner, but at the same time have a lot of comfort off-road too. They are heavier than a dirt bike, but very nimble, very well balanced, and didn't get into any trouble. I actually didn't drop this bike on this whole trip, which is a win for me. This bike also comes equipped with adaptive ride height. It is an option on the 1250S. It's a $1,000 option, but adaptive ride height is going to make this bike accessible to those that have a shorter inseam. Some of the adventure bikes are not accessible because you have to have a taller inseam to be able to get on these bikes and feel comfortable. The adaptive ride height as you come to a stop will sag somewhere between 2 and 3 inches so that you have confidence touching the ground. Even for a tall guy like me, I actually did appreciate it because it allowed me to get on the bike a little bit easier at different points in time. And there again, just a confidence-inspiring system. Nobody out there in the market right now has a suspension system like this, and I do think it's going to open this sport up to lots of different individuals that didn't think an adventure motorcycle was a possibility for them just because of their size.
Yeah, that's something I'm really looking forward to for myself. I'm just under 6 feet tall, and adventure bikes are tall bikes. And just when you come to a stop, having it settle down will be something I'm looking forward to.
But I know women are looking at this bike as well. We ran into some other adventure bike riders that have some Harley-Davidson touring motorcycles, and they saw this out in the wild when we were at Newspaper Rock and looked at it and saw the seat height. It was in its full kind of sag mode and said, wow, that seat height looks like it's accessible for us. It was a husband and his wife, both on bikes, and there again, it's just a confidence-inspiring thing. There's 3 different seat options. There's a standard option, there's a tall boy seat, and there's a reach seat for those that are a little bit shorter.
You know, another cool thing at Newspaper Rock today was talking to people about motorcycles and seeing other people on motorcycles. And I think my thought was, like, if I pull up in my SUV or my truck, nobody says, hey, cool car. What are you riding? What are you driving? But on a motorcycle, people are just naturally curious, and they come up and talk to us, ask you where you're coming from and where you're going, and they tell you what they ride or what they used to ride. And that's really cool. It's a neat way to meet people from all around the country.
Yeah, for those that have motorcycled, regardless of what you're on, have experienced that. We try to take back roads, hit little small cafes in these small towns as well because of those conversations. And it's a way to, experience that community with those people. And the motorcycle is the centerpiece. It's the common denominator for everybody. Yeah, we had a number of people, especially at the gas stations, that were stopping us, asking us where we were from, where we're going, and what our trip had been like.
Yep.
Well, that's a wrap on our trip. Steve, I'm excited that you're going to be getting your motorcycle so we can get 2 Pan Ams out together and maybe get our gang back together here.
Yeah, thanks for letting me join you, Greg. This was a great time.
Yeah, so we have a ton of Pan America content out on our channel, so make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Our dealership in Idaho Falls there is in prime territory to get out and experience these motorcycles. Even though we're in Utah today, just because it's a little bit colder up north, we plan to get this out in Idaho, Montana, everywhere else out west, and show you some of the great environments that you can get this bike out in.